league included not only the Iroquois and the Mohawks, but the Oneidas, the Cayugas, the Onondagas, the Senecas, and the Tuscaroras. The meeting, the powwow, the peace talks actually go well, but Jaquez realizes that the Iroquois have no intention of making peace with their ancient enemies, the Huron, or their new enemies, the Christians. Soon after Jaquez left the Iroquois village, their crops fail, and a smallpox epidemic breaks out, killing many of the children, women, and the elderly. Iroquois' suspicion falls on a box of religious articles that Jaquez had left behind. He leaves the box behind because the Jesuit hopes to return to the village and perhaps establish a mission there. Now, upon opening the box, the chest full of religious articles, the Iroquois find rosary beads, crucifixes, and a few Bibles. And they soon come to believe that this chest, this box that Jaquez had left behind, is the cause of their misfortune by spreading an evil curse among the people in the village. Jaquez, hearing of the smallpox epidemic, the smallpox outbreak, returns to the Iroquois village with a friend, Jean Lalande, as well as a Huron guide. The Jesuit is soon invited to a communal meal and then treacherously hacked down as he enters the longhouse. It is said that Jaquez forgives his Iroquois, those who killed him, saying the words of forgiveness with his dying breath. His head, the head of Jaquez, was then cut off and set on a pole, facing the direction from which the Jesuit had come. This long communal dwelling, the longhouse, was unique to both the Iroquois and Huron peoples. These massive lodges were sometimes over 100 feet long and were gabled or vaulted with a door at each end. These longhouses had log frames and a variety of coverings. For example, elm bark was often used. Now, the following day, Jaquez's Jesuit companion, Jean Lalonde, and their Huron guide were also murdered and beheaded by the Iroquois. Now, the death of Jaquez and his companions marked a type of turning point in the Beaver Pelt Wars, and the Iroquois' hostilities against the Hurons and the Jesuits begins to grow more and more ferocious. Entire Huron villages are soon wiped out in a virtual bloodbath, an orgy of murder and pillage. Now, Father Anthony Daniels, who had just finished celebrating Mass at Brebeuf's mission at Tenashtine, he finishes saying Mass when the Iroquois savagely attack. The Jesuit priest went forth alone to meet the Iroquois warriors. The priest is armed only with a cross and his faith in God. The Jesuit is quickly riddled with arrows, then stripped naked, and his body is thrown into the church. The Iroquois then set the church ablaze. They set fire to the church with the body of the Jesuit inside it. In March 1649, the village at which Brebeuf and his friend Gabriel Lalemant were stationed came under attack. The horrifying death that the two Jesuits soon have to endure is among the worst tales of torture in the history of Christian martyrdom and sainthood. Now, in his torments, Lalemant cries out in agony, my God, but Brebeuf manages to somehow put aside his pain, and in his more lucid moments, Brebeuf actually preaches to his Iroquois tormentors, telling the warriors that they still have time to save their souls. They still have time to come to the Lord Christ. Well, the Iroquois gag Brebeuf, then cut off his nose and lips. And then in a parody of baptism, pour boiling water over the heads of the 2 Jesuit priests. Then the Iroquois hacked off large pieces of their flesh while they are still alive, and roast the flesh over campfires. Brebeuf dies within a few hours, and the Iroquois then cut out his beating heart, drinking his blood while it is still warm. Lalemant then had burning embers forced into his eye sockets. The Jesuit somehow manages to hang on until morning. Lalemant was then finished off with a blow to the head from a tomahawk. In December 1649, the Iroquois attack the fortified town of Saint Jean, a village where the French and the Christianized Hurons intermingle and live together in relative peace and prosperity. It was also the village where Charles Garnier had established a Jesuit mission. Garnier was hit by a musket ball while trying to give some comfort to the dying. The Jesuit is mortally wounded. He collapses while trying to reach another dying man, a Huron Christian convert. The final death blow again comes from an Iroquois tomahawk. Father Noel Chabanel was with a party of Huron when they meet Iroquois warriors returning from the Saint Jean massacre. They are vastly outnumbered, so the priest yells for the Huron to flee, telling them that running away is their only hope for survival. The priest is too exhausted to follow, and Charbonnel is soon run down and captured. The fate of the Jesuit remains unknown for a few years, but then it is found